Welcome back to the Digital Chemical Playbook. This is Florian Brunet, the Digital Director from DKSH Performance Materials, and today we are recording a special episode. We are here with Ammar Badwy, which is the CEO of Pharmaoffer. Today we're going to have a discussion about digital transformation in the pharmaceutical ingredients. I think it's a broad discussion that we are having ahead of us. This is the first time we are recording an episode about pharmaceutical industry, and I'm very proud and happy to have Ammar with us today. Good afternoon, Ammar. How are you?
Yes, thank you. I'm fine. Thanks for having me at this beautiful place. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Me too, actually. And maybe we can start the discussion simple. I think we are today in Amsterdam, and we are having that discussion in the middle of a trade show that is happening next to us, which is in cosmetics. We know in our environment that the cosmetic industry is one of the most advanced industry in terms of digital transformation. But today we are talking about pharmaceutical. And I think my first question, and the first question we always ask to our guests, is what is your perception of the digital transformation in the chemical industry and specifically in the pharmaceutical industry from your side?
In the pharmaceutical industry, I'm working now for quite some years in digital innovation in the pharmaceutical industry. I think pharma has always been known for being a bit traditional. Digitization can really help to make things more efficient and cheaper.
Yeah.
And that's actually what we're trying to do. So I'm not, for me, digital is not like a holy thing and that everything should be digital, but I think that there are a lot of problems that you can solve in the right way if you combine it well with more traditional approaches.
Yes. Oh, no, you're right. And I mean, on this level of increasing the business, reducing and improving potentially the efficiency, what from the years you've been experimenting this digital transformation across the pharmaceutical industry, from your side, what is the biggest pain that this industry is facing into this digitalization?
The biggest pain is, like there's this thing like, oh, we've always done it this way, so let's keep it like this. And I think it also makes sense that people think this way because indeed, if it worked, why should you change it? So also the change in our case, I mean, we're talking for quite some years already. We started it like really in the first time in 2016, and first couple of years were also quite difficult because you really need to get people along with your story. You need to convince them. And I think what makes it a bit challenging in our industry is that in many cases, pharma companies are big companies with like long management structures in different countries. So in many cases, when someone reach out to us, it's someone who really believes in what we did and the digital transformation. But then this person needs to convince the manager, and the manager needs to convince their manager. So, and then things really get slowly.
No, that's definitively true. I mean, from the position of DKSH, I think this is something we also see and face. The fact that we came on an industry that is quite a historical industry with processes that are there for a very long time, but looking after that, and while I was preparing the episodes of today, I've been also talking to people from the pharmaceutical industry in DKSH, and they are telling me, look, Florian, the thing is that in our business, the customer journey from the exploration to the purchase for API is taking and might take much longer than it would take, for instance, in the personal care industry or the food and beverage industry. So you, by working on the digital process where you're much more on the exploration side, how do you connect to this approach? What's the timeline it takes actually in the pharma industry to come from a first exploration to finalizing a project and exam?
Yeah, so usually before a pharma company buys from a new company, it really takes like months or sometimes even years. And what we're doing with Pharmaoffer is we are an online marketplace, and our buyers can find suppliers, can compare them, and can contact them. I strongly believe that when you want to buy from a company that you don't know, you need to have a level of trust first. And in our industry, usually this trust came from middlemen, like people knowing each other for years. And when your network partners say like, okay, this is good, then you trust it a little bit more. What we do is we don't replace that entirely. We really focus on bringing people together in the first place. We try to give them all the tools they need in order to make the right decision. And then actually the process starts that we also motivate them to connect each other, online, or meet each other at events or meet in person anyway. Because I really believe in this combination. If you want to do everything digital only, that might work when you buy shoes or shirts or whatever, but I don't really see that with these B2B transactions, actually.
Maybe we saw this appearing like maybe, as you say, 5, 6 years, 8, maybe even 10 years ago, when we got a first wave of companies trying to set up the marketplace for a specific industry or for a specific type of ingredients, before then getting and slowly moving into a more kind of a hybrid relationship, right? From the people, the business, and the platforms. But I really like the approach that you're taking, showcasing these different elements moving forward and the evolution that we got. Maybe you want to tell us a bit more about how did this idea of Pharmaoffer came on the table? What's the root, right? What's the origin of this project? Because as you say, you have been one of the pioneer into this business. We see many people now getting into this type of market, but myself, I remember the first time we talked, it was like many years back. So tell us what's the root of Pharmaoffer?
So I started I started working for a Dutch company that was buying APIs, so the active ingredients for medicine, and they were repacking it and selling it to Dutch hospitals and pharmacies. And there, usually the process was like this. I was working on the sales department. Then a hospital came to me and said like, "Hey, Ammar, can you get this API for me? Because I have a group of patients and we want to make a medicine for them, basically compounding."
Okay.
And then usually we start looking. I mean, we had this standard assortment, but in many cases we were also looking like, hey, can we find this API for them? And then I realized like how dependent you are on other companies now. So the purchase department started to search within their network. And in many cases, it really took some time, and we were quite happy if we got one quotation. We were not really able to compare it, and in many cases we didn't got any answer. And to me that was so weird. Actually, as a millennial, I'm used to do everything online, and I mean nowadays you don't need to go to a travel agency. You can immediately compare plane tickets from destination A to B. And immediately make a decision based on price, quality, whatever. And that counts for everything, for insurances, for washing machines, for everything. So I was a bit surprised that this wasn't really the case in our industry. And at a certain point, I started to work for a new department that was the marketing department.
Okay.
So I remember that on the first day, I thought, okay, let's put this company on all platforms so we can grow our business. And then I actually realized like, oh wow, platforms doesn't exist actually. So there actually the idea came up to build a platform. But I'm happy that I started in this industry. Otherwise it would never worked, because it's such a complicated market with all the qualifications. Like it really depends in which country you produce a medicine and for which country you want to bring the medicine to the market, and you need certificates, and companies say that they have the certificate, but in the end they don't have it or it's expired. Like there are a lot of things that make this market complicated. And I think that's also why we have always been focusing on the API market, because it's not a market that you can, let's also do the API market. Yes, it's way too complicated and way too niche actually for it. So,
and this is hard to promote, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So if tomorrow, I mean, we see this also in DKSH, right, trying to promote pharmaceutical ingredients on our own, it's not easy. I think even when you try to do some Google AdWords about pharmaceutical ingredients, you automatically get your ads blocked by Google, right? So it's tricky, right? Yeah, these two-step digital marketing. So we really need to have a platform of choice, maybe, for doing this.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're very restricted when it comes to marketing, and that's also why so many pharma companies, they still put one-page ads in magazines and like those kind of advertising, because they're very limited when it comes to Google Ads. So when the idea came up, I discussed it with the owners of that company.
Okay.
I said, well, this will really be the future. So let's start this. Well, I'm planning to start it anyway, so you can join me in some way. And that was actually the start of Pharmaoffer. So I did it together with them, with Bart and Martin. But they were more like from the side. It's not the daughter company. It's like a really separate company. They basically joined as founding angel partners. Let's do it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And the beginning was actually quite tough, because what I didn't know was that a marketplace model is one of the most difficult models there is. So we want to build this prototype, and then actually we thought that all suppliers would be very eager to join our idea, to join the platform, because it was a way for them to get new clients, and that we have to put some efforts to motivate pharma companies to source on our platform. And it was actually completely the other way around. So actually from the beginning, we've always been growing really a lot on the buyer side.
Okay.
And on the supplier side, it was much more difficult, because it was more like a traditional sales process to talk to them and convince them that this is something that they should definitely join. So yeah, that the beginning was quite tough, and then only after a certain point that when the buyers keep growing, then it's of course easier to.
And also maybe to find a suitable business model. There is a bit of a trial and error, not though. Like when it's a marketplace, always this chicken or egg approach. Who do I charge first, or how do I organize my business model? Do you feel that this is something that is right now as per se like stabilized, or do you see some more evolution of this model?
No, it's actually not stabilized yet. I think since the beginning we have been growing like 2-3 times per year.
Okay.
And actually last year was our best year so far. So we went like 5-6 times the number of users, up to 1.5 million users who are using our platform to source suppliers. I do believe that we're actually still at the beginning. Yeah. It is still growing. And maybe what's also the difference is that on the supplier side, it's really like a company decision to join our platform. And on the buyer side, we collect the buyers that have a problem. They're looking for qualified suppliers. They go to the internet because they don't want to wait for the middleman, or they don't have a network, or they just can't find it. Then they go online, then they find us, and that's basically it.
Starts right.
Yeah.
So does it mean that when I'm looking for a different type of APIs, how do actually am I getting and keeping the connection with Pharmaoffer all along the journey of my API chasing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe good to know that when we started the company, we had this idea of facilitating everything on the platform. Yeah. So the connection, the communication, the order, the payment, like everything. And at certain time, we learned that this model was one step too far actually for many companies, because especially for the bigger pharma companies, they just prefer to do the business in the way how they used to. And that's something that I really can understand. They want to do it on their own terms, just settled it with their software or email or whatever. So that was one moment that we pivoted also our business model. So first we had a percentage per deal, and then we felt like if we really want to become the platform where the entire industry will be represented, then we need to change our model in a way that it also fits better to the bigger companies. And then we we had this discussion and we really tried to listen, like, what does the market really want? And then we thought, like, people want to connect in the most perfect way possible. So if you do the order on the platform, you also have to tell people, like, you can't communicate outside the platform. You have to do it on the platform. So then we thought, like, okay, let's change the model. We charge a fee to suppliers to be listed on the platform. There are some other services that we offer to them. And then when they receive leads, they can communicate on the platform, but they can also do it outside. They can schedule a call or whatever. It's not particularly our goal to keep everyone as long as possible on the platform. We want to do that part as good as possible. And then we're 100% sure that if we help them perfectly, that they will return the next time that they have the same problem, but now for a different API.
Okay, that's great. That's super interesting to see how you can infuse the technology and also make some tests, keep some learnings from the way you're collaborating with customers and suppliers, so you can find the right model, right, for sustaining your growth moving forward. And so do you work right now with big pharmaceutical companies, or what's the profile type, right, of customers looking for APIs and Pharmaoffer?
Yeah, we really have like all type of pharma companies. So we have the big pharma companies like Pfizer's and Johnson and Johnson's. We have compounding pharmacies. We have biotech startups. We have CDMOs, universities. So basically every type of company that need pharma ingredients, they're using our platform. And what we try to do is to structurize as good as possible, like who is using our platform, so that we can also help the suppliers when they want to do campaigns, for example, to only, for example, CDMOs in Spain, and then people from this department, etc. Then we can do campaigns on them too. And that's something that they can't do on Google, but they can on Pharma.
Yeah, actually, you're acting where there is a gap, right, from Google. So it's quite interesting for companies listing APIs. And there is a question that I wanted to ask you from the beginning of this episode. It's about Biopharma. We hear a lot, right, in the world of pharmaceutical ingredients concept about Biopharma. Companies try to invest also on finding the right talents to deal with this type of ingredients. How do you see about this? Do you think it's a trend? Do you think it's a real shift into the industry? What's your view on that?
Yeah, well, we see at least that for our clients, like the suppliers, they quite invest a lot. We have quite some companies that produce biologics. I think that especially on the research side, AI can be very interesting with new developments. And so actually, like a year ago, we launched also a new service. Besides ingredients, we also have the CDMOs.
Okay.
And I think because that's actually where we deal the most with biotech companies, is that in many cases, like for a startup, when they're on something very interesting, then they need to find a partner that can help produce them on a larger scale, and that's usually when they really get into the picture for us. How's that for DKSH?
I mean, for DKSH on that level, we see that this is a growing trend. Working with Biopharma, this is for us at some point the future in terms of ingredients and ingredient sourcing, but it's still in the early stage from what we're seeing. Now, how AI can help in supporting this development? We are looking very closely to what is going on more on the lab level, right? To see how AI can help on formulation, right, and to go much faster in terms of testing formulations, new formulations.
Yeah.
But then yes, as always, right, in the pharmaceutical ingredients, I think there is part of it that comes to testings, and there is some very well established bases that are not accelerating that much the processes. I think we have many different room of opportunities, but however, yes, we really want to keep our focus on APIs and also so Biopharma as an emerging market. quite worldwide. So this is a good thing also, because as a distribution company, we also depend some of the time on what is happening in the market, what are our delivery and our distribution agreements. When it comes to biopharma, we have some more, let's say, international opportunities.
Yeah, I think you're responsible for digital activities within DKSH. You were one of the first I knew who, or actually DKSH was one of the first who really had someone responsible for this area. We don't see it that often. Can you shortly explain, like, what is it? I mean, are you also involved with these, like, lab innovation, or is it what does digital mean for DKSH?
What's the scope, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Of digital for DKSH? Let's say that. I mean, we are having an approach of digital with. Let's say two sides. One side is how we can help to accelerate the business on digital marketing, digital business, partnering with external platforms and feeding our own platforms. So we have product owners, product managers developing, working on DKSH Discover, plus on the other side, people working with platform for each of the industry we are working on, right? On the other side, we are working to help the existing business. And here it comes to services for labs, for formulators, but also on the operational excellence, regulatory. We have a big topic also of documentations, how to sustain documentation. I think in the pharmaceutical industry is even more important, right? All of this compliance and regulatory related. So the idea is like, okay, once we set a process, how digital team can help to get this process more efficient and bringing the technology to something that we like. The chance we have at DKSH is that we got the buy-in from our top management from the very early stage. Yeah. So we can get really like the digital team embedded within the business unit performance material. So we work for chemicals with chemical people in the chemical industry to frame this ecosystem. And I think it's important because the digital transformation in our industry is, of course, slow. However, we see more and more new players coming into that scope. And independently, whether you're working for a pure player or for a supplier or for a customer or even for a distributor, we all of us fighting and participating to accelerate the same ecosystem. And that's why we've been in touch. We've been talking in the past, and we are always eager to hear what's the last trend and what technology can help to achieve in terms of milestone. With the age of AI, I don't know. I mean, we didn't talk that much about AI as per se, and what's the different opportunities you see as a pure player with AI. But I mean, I really think that there are some huge opportunities in terms of documentation management, in terms of certification or so management, and all the data management that is behind. So we can bring like more value to data, right?
Mm-hmm. There are plenty of opportunities with AI. At the same time, I also a little bit careful with not saying like all this AI thing and it's a solution for everything, but we are using it quite a lot, especially because we have, for example, with all the users that come to our platform, we validate them because we only want that really people from the pharma industry are using our platform. And also when they reach out to the suppliers, we make a profile so that the supplier better understand who this company is, if they are stock listed, if they are a daughter company of XYZ, etc. That's, for example, something that we now like fully automate with AI. Also, the like I said, the CDMO request, that process is quite different than how people are searching for APIs. It's actually more complex because with APIs you're just looking for a product and then you need to use the criteria that are important for you. But with CDMO, it's almost like you're looking for a new partner in life, right? Like a new business partner in this case. So then also the request is a bit more complex. So for example, when we started, it was like a short questionnaire, like, okay, what are you looking for? Yeah. But now with AI, we can basically say like, okay, just tell us what you're looking for. And then with all the data and databases that we have, then we can match their request. That's actually the latest thing that we are working on. But
So do you have prompt to search, or do you think about having this type of approach?
If you really look what we're doing, then we are matchmaking basically. So
and you have an immense database, right? So it means that you have a huge amount of data that you can play around, right? To make recommendation. Or
so if you are searching for a product or service and we bring you 50 suppliers,
yes,
I mean, then you have an idea of the market, but it doesn't really help you because you're not really looking for to approach 50 suppliers. Yeah. So we see it as our job to tell you which 3 suppliers match the best with
or you
more than exactly. So we have companies that that are selling products with like the highest quality possible, the highest purity.
Yes.
Then we don't also want to bring them people looking for the lowest price and like a quick deal. Then it's a waste of time for both people. So
could you just say something here interesting, because you talk about the price, and I don't think that much in Pharmaoffer, but it also happened to us in some other platforms in the past where we were trying to list down pharmaceutical ingredients, and we ended up realizing that people use this platform to get to a kind of a price war, getting the lower price possible, right? Generating RFQ for plenty of different suppliers for the same ingredients, and just getting, this guy gave me that price, why you don't give me that price, and so on. So I think it's so much specialty as per se that the price is a tricky topic into this industry. There are so many different parameters that come into the picture for setting actually the right price for both the suppliers, for the customer. How do you manage this pricing topic inside the platform like Pharma?
Yeah, so of course price is important, but I think what we see is that in general it's not the most important part. So most important part is of course quality, availability, and also reputation, or whether they know each other already. Of course price is also important, and we also found it important that buyers can find a fair price. But we don't like to see people shopping with 50 suppliers, like, hey, who is bringing the lowest price? Usually those kind of buyers, they also don't get through our verification process, because what we see is like the very serious companies.
Yes.
They don't approach many suppliers. We also have limited it, by the way. We push people to only send their request to 3 suppliers. We give them all the tools they need so they can make a right decision which supplier fits best to their need. But we don't let them approach all the suppliers because, I mean, we have a relationship also with our supplier. So the need of a buyer is different than the need of a supplier. But if the supplier is only receiving like rubbish leads, basically, they will leave our platform in the end. So it's not in our interest to, we also say like we focus on quality leads and not bring as many leads as possible. Of course, we want to bring a lot of leads, but
it's a matter about the funnel and making sure that in the end they can make something out of them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And how do you, so we talk about supplier customers, but how do you handle the relationship, if you have some, right, with distributors into this?
Yeah, to be honest, first, I thought that most of the buyers, they want to do direct business with manufacturers.
Yes.
Because then there's this direct line. But everyone is welcome on our platform. You can be a manufacturer, you can be a distributor, as long as it is clear.
Come as you are in Pharmaoffer.
Yeah, exactly. But for us, it's important that it's clear who you are. So if you're a distributor, you can't say that you are a manufacturer.
Okay.
If you don't have a GMP certificate, it's fine, but it will be clearly shown that you are not GMP certified. What we see is that distributors, especially the distributors who are adding value, so the ones who have like a team who are specialized in XYZ, or who have like production area or even a warehouse or knowledge from certain markets, those are the ones who perform quite well. And what we also see is that distributors are, to be honest, a bit better than most of the manufacturers in following up on our clients. So, I mean, companies they want to have like the highest ranking on our platform. They want to look very well. But what we also really see is that the companies that get the most deals through our platform, they are actually the smartest in how should you follow up. How are you contacting someone that's reaching out to you? I mean, you can immediately send the price for what they are looking for, but I mean, if you try to understand a bit better, like, hey, why are you looking?
Tell me more, right? Let's get into a whole.
Yeah, what other products do you make? What is the problem right now that you face with it? You know, and then they actually start to build this relationship already. So distributors are quite successful actually on our platform.
Really?
Yeah.
I should bring the information to distributors' colleagues. Do we have? I mean, on the ingredients, there is something that is taking also more and more importance nowadays. Is a bit of the traceability, and specifically in the pharmaceutical industry. Do you plan to, at some point, have a kind of traceability or sustainability certification out of the API? I know it's very hard, right? There is a lot of work to be done in assessments, in company assessment, data assessment, origin of the ingredients, or of so on. What's your view as an expert on this?
Right now, what we do is we try to showcase companies as good as possible, like how they are qualified, etc. Usually, when our information is like 99.5% correct, then it's good because then we save a lot of time for buyers. But in the end, it's the buyer's responsibility to ask for all certificates, etc. What we also see is that the more data we have, the more possibilities and also challenges it brings. So it's also getting easier for us to track things from how does this contacting thing work? What's the timeline? Does things turn into a deal? But right now, everything that we do is really based on serving the buyers and suppliers. So there might even be opportunities that we are not using right now, but there are, like I said, that now we really focus on this part.
Okay.
Is that something important for
Harry?
Yeah.
Actually, it is for, some of the market, this is more and more coming. It's not only a sustainability related topic, but more a business related topic, right? Customers are asking us for traceability, and we need to know the origin of the ingredients. And as soon as we claim that an ingredient is classified as a sustainable one, we need to bring the different claims and the documentation that are certifying that.
Yeah.
And also there are markets. We're operating in 35 different markets, and some of them it also comes from the law, right? The obligation of having this such traceability. So we need to be up to speed, and we also rely on partners. As Pharmaoffer can be a potential partner for Pharma to have this kind of a 360 view on what's happening in the pharmaceutical ingredients in terms of API, so we can get information from them. Because this is something that matters a lot. Good. Is there from your perspective, Ammar, is there anything that we should wish you for this year or for the year to come? What is your view in the future? What's the progression that you're taking a look after? What is your priorities?
Well, my priorities. Well, like I said, right now we have much more information about us, and we have so much traffic going on our platform, and I really believe that really believe in the power of data. So if you really use that well, it can give you a lot of information, and then you can become much more agile in executing new solutions and track how the market's engaging with that, improving it, and that way you build faster. I think that is one of our priorities right now, to invest more in product development, of course, but also in learning more from what's going on, and use all that potential in improving the platform, and of course then also the experience from both buyers and sellers.
Good. And everything, but this is what you just said, the experience of buyers and sellers. it describes quite well the great work you're doing. I think you're a product-centric company where you place a lot of importance on what's the digital experience of the users. I think that people can find you on pharmaoffer.com, right? And I invite anyone listening to that episode, even if you're coming from the pharmaceutical industry or not, for simple curiosity to visit Pharmaoffer. You will see that the online experience is pretty good, and it's pretty not often to see such an experience on B2B site as the one that you're disclaiming on Pharmaoffer. Ammar, I think we are reaching the end of our podcast. Anything you'd like to say before we conclude?
I've been enjoying our talk. I mean, we can continue for hours. Maybe
yes,
we should afterwards. No, thanks a lot for having me. And yeah, I think it's important that you pay attention to digitization in this industry, because I think yeah, there are still so much opportunities here, and yeah, there's also much to learn from other industries as well.
Yes, no, definitely from other industries, in B2B, in B2C, and also I think within the chemical world, whether you're in the pharmaceutical and the personal care or food and beverage or even specialty chemicals, there are a lot of touch points to see, to identify, and to tackle to help startups and software companies like yours to grow, and on the other side to helping suppliers and customers to tackle the digitalization.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Ammar. Thank you, everybody who's been listening to this episode. I hope you liked it. Please feel free to share your comments once you've been listening to it. Thank you very much for following our podcasts. Looking forward to talking to you and seeing you on the next episode. And thank you so much for receiving us here in the wonderful Amsterdam, Ammar.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you very much. Bye.